everybody? Welcome back to the CrownHoops Podcast. My name is Daly. With me this week, we got Stacey Collier and Ben Okazawa. Say what's up, guys.
What's up?
What's going on?
We are on to episode number 42 now. Mike's not with us. He's risking it. He's going to, I think he said, Universal
Studios.
Yeah, so he's going there with his family. So, Mike, have a good time. Don't get corona. But yeah, we'll kind of jump right into it. Speaking of corona, obviously we have the NBA season starting back up into the Orlando bubble. Some players, the deadline, I believe, was June 24th to step up and say if you were going to go or not. So we have a list of players that have decided they are not going to go to Orlando for various different reasons. I've seen they just don't want to do it. They have family at home I have to worry about. I saw someone was having a child, and I think someone's child had like an autoimmune disease. So obviously they can't risk things like that. But some of the players that are leading that list is probably the biggest name was Kyrie Irving, but he probably wasn't going to play anyway because of his injury. We have Spencer Dinwiddie, DeAndre Jordan, Wilson Chandler, Avery Bradley, Davis Bertans, Trevor Ariza, Willie Cauley-Stein, and possibly Dwight Howard. He's been very vocal about restarting the league, but he hasn't come forward and say he's not going to play. So we're just going to put a question mark on him for now. But I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on those guys stepping down for the season. What do you guys think the effect of that is? Stacey, we'll start with you.
I do not blame none of these guys for their reasons for stepping down. You know, like you already stated, some are concerned about being in a bubble about the virus. Some are looking out for their family. Others are worried about social justice right now. So I completely understand all these players' reasons. As far as the impact, like you look at the list of the players, these players on that list, they not really that impactful on the whole picture on their team. Maybe Dwight Howard, but the rest of them don't really affect the projections of where these teams gonna go. Like David Bertans, the Wizards, they really don't have a shot. So, whether he play or not is not going to improve whether they get to the finals. And Willie Cauley-Stein, he barely played with the Mavericks, and then you have Wilson Chandler and DeAndre Jordan and Kyrie Irving. Like the Nets were already obliterated, and then there's just more reason why they probably not even going to get past the whole play-in tournament type thing. So, I don't blame none of these players. If they choose to sit out, then we should all respect that, and best of luck to them.
Okay, yeah, I completely agree. Especially for those teams that really have no shot at even making the playoffs to begin with, there's really no chance to go out and risk that. Especially Florida. We were talking about this before we started recording. I believe yesterday had more new cases of the virus than all of Europe. So it's definitely risky to just be going there to begin with, even though they are creating this bubble, so to speak. But Ben, what are your thoughts on all these players?
I agree 100% with what both you guys said. It's 100% these guys' prerogative whether they want to play. They got to do what's best for them, for their families. I saw Evan Fournier clowning Davis Bertans on Twitter for not joining. First of all, like Stacey said, he plays for the Wizards. Like, I don't think it really matters anyway. And even if he did play, or even if it were to make a difference, him playing, why'd you make fun of a man for doing what's best for his own health and for his family's health? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So I thought that was stupid. I 100% support all of these guys for choosing to sit out, whether it be for, focusing on social justice, or if you're having a kid, especially a newborn, you don't want to be putting them at risk for sure. Or whether it's just because they're worried about their own health or they just don't want to play. I think it's 100% up to each individual. I think the NBA has always been good about kind of catering to their players that way. So I'm glad that they're giving them the option to sit out. And as far as the impact on the league, I think if more people choose to sit out, like we said, Dwight, and I know Fred VanVleet had strongly considered sitting out, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more names like Damian Lillard, who's very focused, and DeMar DeRozan, who are very focused on social justice right now. end up sitting out, even though I believe the deadline had passed. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see more names start to drop out, at which point the impact of all this could definitely become more serious. But either way, like I said, I support each of those decisions 100%. So.
Yeah, and I mean, as we're talking, today's Monday. Dinwiddie and DeAndre Jordan both announced it today that they weren't going, but although it's past the deadline, they both just tested positive for the virus. So that's probably why they're not going. And at that point, they wouldn't just want to risk spreading it to anyone. So smart for them to stay home. But out of this list of names, which player do you think has the most impact not being on that court? And I'll start off with this. In my opinion, I would say Avery Bradley is probably the biggest. How do I put this into words? He changes the game the most not being there. I mean, him on the Lakers, he's a very, very good asset defensively speaking. So I think the Lakers are going to hurt a little bit without him. Obviously, they did make a free agent signing today, which we'll talk about later. But I kind of want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And is there any one player on this list that kind of stands out to you that could really impact not being there?
Well, for me, I already alluded to this. Dwight Howard, he will provide the biggest negative impact of him not being there with the Lakers. Now, I do agree with your point about Avery Bradley, but since they signed a player in his place, I think that they'll make up for it in a way, probably not defensively, but just to have somebody to replace Bradley with. But Dwight Howard, he's still got his athleticism. He's still a defensive presence. He's still a shot blocker. He's still a rebounder. I think he was shooting like 60% on the season with the Lakers, and he was that valuable backup option, that big man role for him. So I think he's the biggest impact player on this list in my eyes.
Okay, Ben, what about you?
To me, I would have to agree with you, Jordan, that especially on a team contending for a championship, it would be Avery Bradley. And Magic Johnson himself said it, former president, former star point guard. Avery Bradley, what with his ability to defend the other team's best perimeter player, on top of what he brings to the table offensively and what small role he has on the court there. For a championship contender, his loss is going to hurt the most. As far as just any team in general and what impact it'll have on their success, I think it's Spencer Dinwiddie. He was a really, really key player for the Nets there, especially with Kyrie being out, kind of fringe all-star type player. So to be losing him on top of course, DeAndre Jordan, Wilson Chandler, and Kyrie, and, of course, Kevin Durant, I think the Nets are really going to be missing his presence on the court for sure.
Yeah, and it's really a shame about Dinwiddie. He was definitely looking forward to it. We're going to talk about something a little bit later in this episode, but the NBA had plans to change things up, and Dinwiddie already had his idea really set to go, and we'll talk about that later. But kind of talking about Avery Bradley kind of leads us into the next topic of some free agent signings. Teams have been able to pick up some players to kind of fill those gaps. The Lakers did just that. Mike White can't be here, but he wants everyone to know that this signing is Mike White approved. With the Lakers signing J.R. Smith. I believe we talked about it the past few episodes, or one of the episodes we talked about potential free agents, and I think we did allude that we could see J.R. signing with the Lakers, and it did officially happen, I believe, today or yesterday. I'm not too sure when it became official. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that right there? I mean, J.R. has the playoff experience with LeBron. Obviously, there is that one famous moment where it didn't go so well, but there are a lot more moments than just that. Ben, we'll start with you this time. What are your thoughts on that signing?
I think it's huge, man. When the Lakers had that roster spot open up and they were ended up signing Dion Waiters, I really thought they should have signed JR. Because like you said, he has that playoff experience, and he's absolutely electric on the court. Like, there are some bad moments for sure. We've seen the bad where he'll either make a really bad decision like he did in game 1 of the finals, or he can go like 0 for 6 from 3 or something and just keep launching them and keep missing. Or he could take 3 tough shots, make them all, and absolutely set the crowd on fire, boost his team's morale. and put points on the board in a way that not many other people can when he's on fire like that. And he's really, honestly, really hard to defend. He loves taking those tough contested shots, so it's hard to stop him when he's in his zone like that. And actually, I just saw this stat today. The 4 players who have made the most 3-pointers in the NBA Finals all time: Curry, Clay, LeBron. Number 4 is JR.
Wow.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
I mean, he can just hit him from anywhere, and like I said, once he gets going, it's tough to stop. It's tough to slow him down. So I really like this signing for the Lakers, and I think it could definitely increase their chances of winning a championship. I mean, they lost Avery Bradley, so that hurts on the defensive end, but they definitely gave their offense a boost with JR there.
Okay. Stacey, what about you? What are your thoughts on this signing?
I like the signing. First of all, I think this is J.R. Smith's shot at redemption because of their blunder in the finals. People didn't sign him up until now. So this is his shot to correct that wrong right there. And he will provide scoring punch, uplifting player, exciting player. Couple questions for me about it is, one, how much ground will he cover defensively for Avery Bradley? Because JR, if he's not motivated to play defense, is not going to go well. And he has to with this team because, LeBron is leading the charge, and this is his best shot to get another ring. So he has to lock in defensively. And then, like what Ben was saying about him going over 6 from 3-point consistency, because, like Ben said, every time J.R. Smith is hot, he can hit like 5 threes in a row. He can finish the game with 20 points. But then there's other nights where he can go like 1 for 7, 2 for 8. And we can't have that on the court. So he has to be more consistent, and he has to have a better shot selection too. Because I seen some shots where I don't know why he would take it, but he did, and it didn't work out. But there's, all like Ben said, there's other shots where he'll hit it from beyond 3-point range, and you just, wow, jaw dropping. So I like the signing overall, and hopefully JR can lock in defensively and be a consistent scorer, consistent 3-point shooter for him.
And like you said, like, he has to be motivated to play defense. Let me put it this way, like, this man was just thrown onto a team favored to win the NBA Finals. If that doesn't motivate him to play defense, like, I don't know what will. He literally has it so easy. He got to rest this entire season. He's just getting thrown on a playoff team, a finals contender. Oh man, yeah, no excuse for him. No excuse for him. He needs to be able to perform. But on to the next big signing. Stacey, I believe you predicted this when we talked about free agent signings and where we see players going. The Clippers signed Joakim Noah to fill in a spot for a big man. So Stacey, since you did predict this one, I'll let you go first. What are your thoughts on that signing?
Well, I mean, we all seen this coming. We heard the stories about Joakim Noah going to the Clippers, just when the league halted play, then that halted the process of him joining. But him going to the Clippers makes sense. He fits in, personality-wise, he fits in with their team, especially with Patrick Beverley, because both of them are agitators on defense, and both of them also play hard, and both of them are also emotionally uplifting players. So he fits in right well with this team. Hopefully he develop his outside shot, because I think we all remember his release is not the greatest. Yeah, it's not. It's real cringy. It's very cringy, but I like the signing. He fits in well, and he's gonna be another boost defensively for the Los Angeles Clippers.
Okay, Ben, what about you? What are your thoughts on the signing?
I don't think it's a bad signing. I mean, he's going to provide a solid veteran presence in their locker room. He has playoff experience with those D-Rose Bulls. I don't see him playing that much. I don't see him seeing that much court time. What with Montrezl Harrell usually holding it down at center. They got JaMychal Green there too. It's more of a power forward, but center in a small ball lineup. Zubac as well as their starting center. So we'll see if he actually sees the court that much. But in the event of injuries or people fouling out or whatever, I think he could definitely provide a solid role there in his backup.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it is a good signing for the Clippers, but Ben, I would agree with what you said. I don't see him getting that many minutes. I would say no more than 15 minutes a game, even if that. The Clippers tend to roll with that small ball lineup, like you mentioned. So I mean, unless they have a matchup where they think, having that big man in there could benefit them, maybe they're trying to get more rebounds in a certain possession of the game. I don't know, but I definitely like that signing. I think height is something that they could use in certain areas of their game. So before we move on from the free agent signings, are there any players that are left in the free agent pool that you think will be signed by a team? So, for example, the free agent left that I think will definitely be signed by a team is Isaiah Thomas. I would be stunned if the Celtics do not sign this man for a minimum contract. I think they would be stupid not to, in my opinion. But Stacey, what are your thoughts? Who do you think will be signed from a free agent?
It's tough to say. It's real tough. I would love to see an Isaiah Thomas signing, especially going back to the Boston Celtics. But I'm still looking at, even though it's kind of 50-50 right now, I'm still looking at DeMarcus Cousins. I think he'll provide an impact for whoever he signed with, like right away, even more than Isaiah Thomas. Since Dwight is probably not going to show up, the Lakers might go in on him. The Heat might go in on him. So wherever he go, he's going to be there, and he's going to play a nice amount of minutes right away. So I'm looking at DeMarcus Cousins.
Do you have a favorite that who will sign him?
See, again, that's tough. Right now, I say the team ahead is the Lakers. I say it's the Lakers. Familiarity. Dwight Howard might show up, might not show up. He'd be that other backup center. So why not?
Okay. Ben, what about you? Who's your free agent that you think would get signed?
I would love to see Jamal Crawford or Joe Johnson get signed. I don't even know if Joe Johnson's looking to be signed right now, just for like nostalgia purposes. I miss seeing Joe Johnson in the playoffs in big time moments. With the Nets, he was huge. Hawks as well. But more realistic option, I think Alonzo Trier just got cut by the Knicks, which really surprised me because he had a standout rookie season for them last year after going undrafted. So I don't necessarily know who would sign him. I don't have a favorite on where he would land. I just think he should be picked up to provide some sort of spark in the backcourt off the bench there for any sort of playoff contender.
Yeah, I didn't even know the Knicks cut him. I question everything the Knicks do, so that really doesn't surprise me.
probably a good thing for him that he got cut by the Knicks.
Yeah, he's finally free.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we'll move on to the next topic of the night. Obviously, social justice has been a big thing the past few weeks after the George Floyd incident. The NBA is stepping up with a response. We kind of briefly mentioned it earlier, but the NBA is going to allow players to change the name on the back of their jerseys to something that they can kind of like broadcast a certain message if they want to about the social justice, social change. And they're also going to paint Black Lives Matter on all of the courts. I don't know if that was an optional thing team by team or if that's league mandated. I didn't see anything specific on that yet. It was pretty much just announced today. So I'm sure we'll see more information on that soon. But just kind of wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on that. I mean, NBA's always been pretty progressive of a league. They kind of are the first league to kind of test things out and try new things. Do you think this is something that can stay in the future seasons, mainly the back of the jersey changing the name thing? Stacey, we'll start with you.
The back of the jersey is definitely going to be temporary. It's definitely going to be temporary. Far as painting Black Lives Matter on the court, I like it. Well, I would like to see different ads to raise social awareness during the games. I would like to see sometimes they have a little tracker on the court with all the advertisement, all the sponsors and everything. I would like to see them use that. If you're going to paint Black Lives Matter, let's also have people remember the names of people that needs justice, like Breonna Taylor, definitely Breonna Taylor. Very very sad story, and other names as well. So like I would like to see like different ads, different names painted on the court, different different avenues that the NBA can explore. The name on the back of the jersey, that's the one thing that I have questions about. Maybe as an alternate, they can like have like a patch or something with Black Lives Matter, or a patch with like different names. But anything else, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Long as it leads to something, and they just not doing this for show. Long as leads to social change, and long as that the NBA becomes a voice of social change, I'm all fine. I'm all for it.
I really like the idea you brought up of putting the names on like all the ad space. So I think that would be a really cool idea, and I definitely think that would get the message out. Ben, what are your thoughts on all this?
I'm with Stacey on the jersey names thing. I think it's kind of a cool idea. I hope it's temporary. I don't think it would make much sense to leave it much past this season. As far as Black Lives Matter painted on the courts, I think that's awesome. And like Stacey said, if they can do whatever they can do further to kind of use their platform for good in this time, I think they should do it, whether that's ads or more things with the court or stuff with the jerseys, whatever they do. They have a huge platform, and they can reach a lot of people who maybe don't have their mind wrapped around everything that's going on. And so I hope that the NBA can use their platform to at least make some sort of change in the world. And I hope as well that it goes on past this season, because this isn't, my worry here is that all of this is not a temporary issue. It didn't start just now with George Floyd, and it's not going to end when the season ends or when we get out of quarantine or whatever. This is going to be something that's been happening for a long time, and it's going to go on for a long time. So I think while the NBA still has this huge platform, I don't want them to forget about it after this season. I want them to continue to use it when this isn't as much of an immediate like social media trend or whatever. I want this to be something that they actually care about.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I'm just proud that the NBA is actually like stepping up and doing something versus other leagues. I haven't really heard them doing anything at all yet. But I like Stacey's idea of possibly like in the later seasons kind of putting a patch on. I feel like that's simple enough where every team could easily do that, and it really kind of it's small, but it gets a message across, in my opinion. And another thing I kind of thought of was with the national anthem being played, I can pretty much promise you that a lot of players are going to be kneeling, if not all of them. Do you think this time around it's going to be a lot more accepted than when Colin Kaepernick kind of first made that stand and, first knelt at the anthem? Do you think people will be more accepting of that idea this time around, Stacey?
Oh, they better be. They better be. We all know where that anthem came from. We know the origins and everything. So, yeah, you better be all right with it.
Ben, what about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I really hope so, because I think it's absurd that people had an issue with it from the start. And I think it'll be absurd if people have an issue with it now, because to me and to everyone who agrees with him, it's very clear that he's not making a statement saying America's a bad place. He's not disrespecting our soldiers who give their lives for us. He's not disrespecting the flag in any sort of way. He's just making a statement that things need to be changed, and he's trying to take a stand for his people. So I 100% respect that, and I hope other people can respect that as well when other players start kneeling. I mean, he sacrificed his career for it, so I have the utmost respect for Kaepernick first and foremost. But for some reason, I still see a lot of people having a problem with the kneeling. I mean, even when you see role model quarterbacks like Drew Brees having an issue with it, who I'm in no way saying that Drew Brees is a bad person. I just think for whatever reason, mind-blowing reason, people can't understand the actual reasoning behind why people are kneeling. So I think it's gonna be hard for a lot of people to kind of wrap their heads around it. But I hope the message gets across as much as it can.
Yeah, and I'll definitely admit when Kaepernick first knelt way back then, I didn't really understand it. I didn't really know what was going on. I guess you could say I was uneducated at the time. So I was kind of upset about it. I wasn't like extremely like furious or mad. Like I don't think he deserved what happened to him at that even at that time. But like now, knowing what I know now, I think back then I just thought like what you said, Ben, like people kind of just misinterpret it, being like, oh, it's disrespectful to like, the troops and everything like that. But that's really not what it is. Like you said, it's just them trying to make a stand. So I really hope people can just kind of educate themselves and know why they're really doing that and the real reason behind it. So yeah, I'm just glad the NBA is kind of stepping up and making that change, and hopefully other leagues follow. And I definitely don't think the NBA is done yet. I definitely think they'll be doing some more things that they'll probably figure out as we get closer to the season. We're still about a month away, so we got some time. But we'll move on from that onto a sad note. Vince Carter has officially retired from the NBA, and it happened in the worst way possible. It was pretty obvious. I mean, everyone kind of knew he was going to retire. I mean, I went to his last game in Boston, and they did a private ceremony before the game, where they gave him a piece of the court, because I believe he scored his first. I don't know, something happened the first time in Boston. I don't remember what it was. But like they did like a private ceremony where Danny Ainge gave him like a piece of the court. But yeah, everyone knew it was coming, but with quarantine in the league just ending the way it did, it's like he didn't really get that goodbye that I think everyone wanted to give him, which is really, really sad. Ben, I'm going to start this off with you being from Canada. You're close to Toronto, right?
Yeah, I'm like 20 minutes out the city.
Okay, so just kind of talk to us about like what Vince Carter means there, and kind of talk about it and go from there.
Vince Carter to me means everything, because I was born in 2001. Vince Carter was kind of becoming big. That's when he took the Raptors to the playoffs for the first time, was 2001. He made basketball popular in a hockey nation. And even still, for me growing up, I grew up in like a hockey town, so all of my friends played hockey, and it was hard for me playing basketball because there wasn't that many kids that played basketball. So it's kind of hard. You're in the minority there when you're a basketball fan in Canada, and especially growing up in the Chris Bosh era of the Raptors, where your team sucks, it's hard to kind of garner some interest. But Vince Carter literally put us on the map. He inspired this new generation, this new wave of Canadian basketball players that's, producing D1 prospects, NBA stars like Jamal Murray and, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all those young guys coming up now. And, me and my brother and my family as well. So Vince Carter to me was like my inspiration, was all of our inspirations really for basketball players in Canada. So I think he should have retired in a Raptors jersey. I think it would have been cool for him to sign at least like a 10-day before he retired. But I mean, he said it himself. It's kind of poetic because he came into the league in a lockout shortened season, and he's leaving the league in a quarantine pandemic shortened season. But no, it would have been nice for him to have a real kind of official send-off. And Vince, thank you. I know you're not going to see this, but thank you for everything you've done for not just the game of basketball, but for the country of Canada and the city of Toronto as well. This is terrible that he's retiring.
I wish he kind of retired in Toronto. I think Paul Pierce, I don't even think he signed a 10-day. I think it was just like a 1-day deal just to retire in Boston. I definitely thought Vince Carter was going to do that. So kind of surprising he didn't. But one of our writers brought up the idea of he was asking people in social media groups, what will the Raptors and the city of Toronto do for Vince Carter? Do you have any idea of possible things they could do?
I've heard a lot of stuff. I've heard obviously retire his jersey. Some people want to make a statue, name something after him. I think they should do all of it. I think they should do all of the above. I mean, the Raptors, I don't remember where I heard this, but I agree with it 100%, would never have won a finals if Vince Carter hadn't played in Toronto, because we like the Memphis, formerly Vancouver Grizzlies, would have been obsolete because we wouldn't have had enough of a fan base. They would have moved us to an American city, and we would have been done before we ever had the chance to win the finals that we did. So I think we owe everything to Vince Carter, and we should honor him however we possibly can. Jersey retirement statue. Name the whole city after him. I don't care.
I would love to see that. That'd be so cool. I remember I watched a documentary about him, and there was a part where it was basically saying that he kind of created a nightlife in Toronto in order to like try to attract free agents to come play with him. I don't really know if that's true. You'd probably know that better than I would. But that's just kind of cool how he kind of built a city in a way. Like you said, a hockey town. Turned it into basketball fans, which is really cool. Vince Carter is my personal favorite player. You guys all know that. So seeing him retire definitely sucks. I remember just watching his dunks, and that's kind of got me mesmerized and made me like basketball to begin with. Unfortunately, I've never been able to dunk, so I can't follow in his footsteps. But there's someday, right? Stacey, what are your thoughts on Vince Carter retiring?
Well, first of all, just like you two, I'm on the record saying he should have signed back with the Raptors and retired as a Raptor. I think that would have been perfect for him. I wish he would have had that contract, especially when they won the championship last season. I thought that should have been the move, but he was happy in Atlanta, and I'm not mad at him for that. Far as honoring him, yes. Have a Vinsanity Boulevard. Yes, let's get that statue of him having his arm in the rim in front of the arena there in Toronto. I think that would be perfect. Jersey in the rafters. Vinsanity Park. Let's do it. Let's build a whole park after or something. Of course, he's going to be remembered for the dunks, especially in the dunk contest and everything. But people forget Vince Carter was a scorer. He was a scorer like in his career. He used to score 25, 27 points per game, and a lot of people forget about that. And now he did shoot, low 40%, which back then you didn't really mind, but people forget like Vince Carter was more than a dunker. Like he was scoring the basketball. He was a leading scorer on his team. Some of his best years with the New Jersey Nets, he had like consecutive years where he scored above 25 points per game. He helped that team get to the NBA Finals. So we need to remember Vince Carter in the entire picture and not just the dunks. And he is a Hall of Famer. I've seen some people question whether he should be a Hall of Famer. Now he's definitely a Hall of Famer. He, like Ben said, he literally built a whole city, a whole nightlife. Toronto was popping. And I never thought about that. If Vince Carter never existed with the Raptors, they would have won the championship. That's a crazy thought, but it makes sense. Like Toronto, since the Vince Carter days, they've been okay. They've been in the playoffs many times and all that. So, hats off to Vince Carter, legendary, stellar career, a very long career too. At that, especially with him dunking, and he didn't have like huge injuries. So hats off to Vince Carter. Congratulations.
Yeah, he was the last player from the 90s. No longer any 90s players in the NBA, which is crazy. But another cool thing is his last basket was an assist from Trae Young, which is kind of cool, saying like it's like kind of like a passing of the torch in a way. I don't know, like young star coming up. I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. I know Trae Young is really happy about that. He said that on Twitter. He sent out a tweet saying, no one will ever be able to say they gave Vince Carter his last shot but me, something like that, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I want to clarify. People have been debating that on Facebook, Twitter, and all that. Vince Carter is not only a Hall of Famer, he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. It blows my mind that people don't think he is. Like, people, I don't like people.
I guess that's the like downside of playing for such a long time is all of these kids remember you as a 43-year-old man who averages 8 points per game on the worst team in the league instead of the most electric player in the league averaging 23 points per game on a playoff caliber squad. So
people just forget like what he did, not only for his team, but for just like the game of basketball in general. Like,
yeah,
people don't understand how influential he is to the NBA and to the sport of basketball. So yeah, easily Hall of Famer. But we'll move on from that before we get too emotional. Ben, I'm gonna pass it over to you for the hot takes.
Yeah, so I'll start it off with the first one. Shouldn't be surprised that this guy said something that could be considered a hot take. Kendrick Perkins, I feel like he could be on the show, on this segment of the show every week.
I think he is.
If we chose. Yeah, that's fair. He said that either the Toronto Raptors or the Boston Celtics would be the Eastern Conference's NBA Finals representative, basically saying that the heavy favorite Milwaukee Bucks will flame out in the playoffs. Stacey, do you think he kind of has a point here, or is this too hot of a take?
All right. I'm not capping when I say this about the Boston Celtics because, I got my Jason Tatum jersey on today.
I appreciate that.
But I think he's right about the Celtics. I think the Celtics do have a legit shot to make it out the East and get to the NBA Finals. I think they're well equipped to take down the Milwaukee Bucks. One of the reasons why I say that because they got very good perimeter play, Kemba Walker, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and they got that fighter on defense and Marcus Smart. The only thing they missing, they can use a big man, but I think that they have a good shot in the NBA Finals. Now, Toronto, I don't know about Toronto. I just don't know. I don't think they have enough firepower, besides, Siakam. And then, like, the other players, you got to count on them being hot. Like Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, you got to count on them kind of being hot, being in that zone for them to make it out. Hopefully, although I say Celtics do have a great shot, hopefully Milwaukee don't flame out because if they do, then I don't know what else they can do. I don't know what else they can do.
Giannis is gonna be gone. I feel like he should leave. If he's smart, he'll leave.
Yeah,
if they don't do anything in the playoffs this year, if he's smart, he'll leave.
Yeah, for their sake, they better keep going.
Exactly. I mean, when you were talking about the Celtics and all the weapons they have, name you left out Gordon Hayward, and that just got me thinking, like, what if Al Horford, when you mentioned that they were missing a big man, what if Al Horford was still on the Celtics? I think they would be the most dangerous team in the league outside of the Lakers and the Clippers, in my opinion. Right up there with those two teams. But Jordan, we've talked about this before, but do you think the Bucks are the favorites in the East, or could it be either the Raptors or the Celtics?
First off, I want to say I miss our team dad, Al Horford. I really do. But yeah, like I said, I've said this before. I've never seen Milwaukee going far this year. I'll go far. I don't see them making it out of the East. Personally, and obviously this is going to come across as bias because I'm a Celtics fan. Just look behind me. I do have Boston coming out of the East. They're the only team in the NBA with 3 players scoring 20 points or more per game. I just think no one in the East has the ability to match up against that team. I think there's too many talented players on that roster. I think people sleep on Jaylen Brown, and I think people sleep on Marcus Smart. And I think people sleep on Gordon Hayward still. And you have to keep in mind, Gordon Hayward has had, 3-4 months now to rehab and recover even more.
That's true.
True. I think people really do sleep on the Celtics. I mean, If anyone ever tells me, oh, I have Milwaukee coming out of the East, I won't think anything by it. That's a smart decision to make. I don't think that's a bad opinion. But me personally, I do have Boston coming out of the East. Toronto, I don't want to say I can't see it. I don't want to say I can't see it. I can. I guess it comes down to the seeding. It would depend on who they play. I mean, if Boston can take out Milwaukee and maybe they play Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe. I don't know. I think it's tougher for the Raptors. I don't think they have as many weapons as Milwaukee or Boston.
As Milwaukee, though, I don't even think Milwaukee, outside of Giannis, I wouldn't even say.
But like
Chris Middleton,
Middleton.
Lowry's definitely not in his prime. Like, I don't know.
We'll see.
That's fair.
I'm honestly, I'm very cautious about talking about my team because I'm also not 100% confident that we're gonna go far again this year. But I'll be happy to just talk a whole bunch of trash if we do win.
It's the only way to do it. What do you think their ceiling is?
I think their ceiling. Before the season, I said second round. Now I'm saying Eastern Conference Finals, especially since we have that second seed. Our path to the Eastern Conference Finals is definitely easier than I had anticipated it being before the season had started. I think honestly, I think you guys will have a very strong playoffs. I just think you will also have the hardest road to the Eastern or to the finals there.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You have to see Philadelphia and Milwaukee before even reaching the conference finals there. So
we got 8 games to change things around. So
yes,
we'll see what we do.
That's true. But anyway, I'll move on to the second hot take. This one's coming from former NBA player and coach Avery Johnson, who most notably spent time with the San Antonio Spurs and as a coach spent about 3 seasons with the Dallas Mavericks. And about his former team, the Mavs, he thinks they can make the finals. Quoted Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis as being the best 1-2 punch in the league, possibly. Jordan, do you think the Mavs have any chance of making the finals, or is Avery Johnson talking out of his behind here?
I'm going to channel my inner Mike White here. How are they getting past the Lakers? Not even the Lakers. You look at the club. Not a chance. Maybe the first round.
Yeah.
That's their ceiling.
I mean, I think it depends on who they see in the first round because they might not even make it out the first round.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they will.
Yeah.
I said maybe.
Yeah, very possible.
They don't have a good enough team. Obviously, Luka is a great player and arguably one of the best in the league right now. But outside of Luka and Porzingis, I don't see it.
Jay Barea.
I mean, yeah, they got some solid players, and I think last week or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about sleeper teams, I did mention them as one of my sleeper teams. But like I said, things would need to be everything would need to go their way. They would need to get extremely lucky, in my opinion.
Yeah, I honestly agree with you. I think this is one of the dumbest hot takes. Usually we find takes that are like, oh, you could kind of see that happening. This is one of the dumbest things I've heard in a long time about the NBA. What do you think, though, Stacey? Do the Mavs have a chance of making the finals?
Well, first, I think you just hurt Avery Johnson's feelings.
I hope so. He deserves it.
Oh man, and I'm about to hurt his feelings too. Come on, Avery. Hey, Avery. No, they don't have a chance. Porzingis, he said they could be the best 1-2 punch. They can be, but Porzingis this year, he ain't did that well this year. He had moments, but then there were games where I remember a game through 3 quarters, he only had 9 points, something like that. Like, you can't have that if you're going to be the best 1-2 punch in the NBA. I think their time is going to have to wait till next year, especially they need a talented wing scorer, somebody who can get at least 15, 16 points on a consistent basis. That's what they miss on the team. Like, the rest of the team outside of those two are like role players. Like they not gonna start nowhere else. Maybe Willie Cauley-Stein, but he's not even playing for him. So this is definitely a hot take. They not gonna. I don't know where he got this from. Maybe he saw him practice for 2 days. I don't know, but yeah, Avery. That's it. That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic could be one of the top duos in a league full of strong duos. But no, this is the Mavs, like Jordan, like we've all said, not making it out the first round of the playoffs. But anyway, Jordan, mystery player debate. I will pass it back to you. I think we've done enough Avery Johnson.
Let's do it. This is a good one. Okay, so we do have 2 current players right now. But I believe for the current players, I usually do either this year or I do a specific year. This is their career so far. So, I mean, these guys, one of them could be a rookie. One of them could be a 14-year vet. You guys have no idea. So add a little mystery into this one. Player A is a point guard. He's averaging 23.1 minutes a game, 18.1 points, 5.0 assists, 2.5 rebounds. He's shooting the ball 43.6% from the field, 36.4% from deep. He's averaging 0.9 of a steal per game, so pretty much a steal per game. Player B is a point guard, shooting guard, mainly plays point guard, I will say. He's averaging 15.6 points per game, 3.7 assists, 3.6 rebounds, shooting 43.9% from the field, 35.8% from deep, and he has 1.2 steals per game, and he is playing in 29.3 minutes per game. Who do you think they are, and who do you choose? Go for it.
This is tough. This is the toughest one yet. Like,
this is
ain't
really
no telling
hard.
who these guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know who I want to take, player A or B. I think I'll take. If I had to pick a guy, I think I'll take B. But it's like the slightest of edges. I think player B can do more. Got more steals. Shooting a little bit better overall. All around game, and you just have 29.3 minutes versus 23.1, so it's like starter-esque. So I'll take player B.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree with Stacey. I mean, it's so tight. I'd take player A. I mean, more points and less minutes, so it's higher value there, and assists as well. And he's shooting a little bit better from deep. Less steals hurts, shows he's not as much of a defender, and he's shooting a little bit worse but barely. They're pretty much shooting the same from the field, and just about a rebound less. So it's definitely tough. This is, I think, your hardest one yet, but I'd take player A.
Player A, okay. So we got it 50-50 here. I'm curious if you guys are gonna stick by your answers once you find out who they are.
Is player B a young guy?
He is younger, yes.
Young player. Okay, I figured that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you had said that from before we started recording.
I figured player B is a young player. Is player B in the Western Conference?
Player B is in the Western Conference.
Okay, I'm getting a little warm.
Stacey's 2 for 2 on the guesses here.
Yeah.
Is player B on the Oklahoma City Thunder?
He is not.
Okay.
Ooh. Were you thinking CP?
No, I was thinking Dennis Schroeder or SGA, but it's not on the Thunder, so.
Ben, any guesses from you? Any questions?
Yeah. Is player A in the Eastern Conference?
Player A is not currently in a conference.
Okay.
Whoa. Wait,
So
he's a free agent?
Free agent right now.
He is a free agent right now.
Free agent point guard averaging 18 points over his career.
So he didn't play this season?
He did. He only played 30 games, though.
30 games and he got cut?
40, my bad.
40 games.
40 games and he He got cut?
He did. And I will not say what team because that'll give it away.
All right.
Oh, man.
But I will say the team was in the Eastern Conference. The team
It was in the Eastern Conference before.
Wow, I'm trying to figure out why he got cut.
He's played for a lot of teams in his career.
That's his career stats there, so. Man. "23 minutes, 18 points, played for a lot of teams, point guard."
Last time it's in the Eastern Conference. That's throwing me off. How he's not on the team? What happened? I want to know what happened. What's the story behind this?
Everyone does, Stacey. Trust me.
And you won't tell us what team he played for because that would give it away.
At least the last team. Let me see if there's any teams I can give you that will not give it away. He started his career in Sacramento. I will say that.
Oh, is it Isaiah Thomas?
It is Isaiah Thomas. Yes.
Oh,
my man.
Wow, 18 points over his career. 18 points, 5 assists. Wow,
yeah, I mean, people kind of forget he was kind of cooking it. He's a pretty good player. Yeah. I mean, even in Phoenix, Sacramento, he did pretty good. I mean, then he came off. He went to Cleveland and the Lakers. He had put up pretty good stats there as well. And even with his last year in Washington, he didn't do too bad with 12.2 points a game. So, he kind of just –
Washington.
I mean, injuries have definitely been a factor for him. Mm-hmm. But when he is on the court, and that's what blows my mind that people aren't taking a chance on him, he's able to perform.
Yeah. I mean, he's 100% a defensive liability.
Oh, for sure. Sure. But I mean, if you can put your game plan around that. I mean, the Boston Celtics did that, and they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, semifinals. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's true.
But they made it work. It's just coaching.
Yeah, that's true.
Very defensive about IT. I love that, man. Any guesses on player B?
Player B. Okay, young guy.
He's a young guy, so he hasn't played for that many teams then?
Correct. He's only played for one team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's in the West, eh?
It is in the West. I will tell you this. This is his 4th season in the league.
4th season, plays in the West. Is it a playoff team in the West?
Yes. He played for Kentucky in college.
30 minutes. Oh, I don't think he should have told us that.
Does that give it away? Let's see it.
No, I can't. I'm gonna just throw it out there. Jamal Murray.
Yes, it is Jamal Murray. Player B is Jamal Murray. Do you guys stand by your choices? Ben, you picked IT. Stacey, you picked Jamal.
I stand by it. Jamal Murray.
Ben?
Is this about who we would rather have right now?
We'll go. We did career stats, so we'll say career-wise.
Career-wise?
If you had to pick one of these guys to have on their career for their career.
I think I'll.
See, I remember too much of that. What was that, like that 3-4 year run of Isaiah Thomas? Like that. Yeah. That was a crazy run right there.
Yes, it was. It was magical.
I think he averaged one year. He averaged like 28.9 or something like that.
Yeah, people were literally debating whether he was MVP. I think he was like 4th or 5th in the voting.
I mean, that's tough though, because Isaiah Thomas has had a long career, and Jamal Murray has barely had a career at all.
It's true. So you're banking on that potential.
Yeah, I would have to. I think I'm gonna switch to Jamal Murray.
Killing me.
I know.
Yeah, I'll take Jamal Murray.
Yeah, I mean, Jamal Murray definitely has a lot of potential. He's a good player. I think Matt Huff's going to be proud of you, too, for both picking Jamal Murray. Shout out to him. But, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tough one. I mean, Jamal Murray definitely has the potential to turn into, an all-star caliber player. He hasn't cracked that ceiling yet. But, look at his last 3 seasons. I mean, his rookie year, he did pretty poor, I'm not going to lie, under 10 points a game. So, that's definitely dragging him down. Yeah. Sophomore year, 16.7 points, followed by 18.2. and then this year 18.8. So he's definitely trending upward. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the All-Star game next year. I really wouldn't.
Speaking of duos, I do want to see how far the duo of Murray and Jokic goes. I want to see how far that goes. I think they kind of like they fly under the radar as far as duos.
Not even duos, just their team in general. I talked about this the episode we were doing sleeper teams. They got Gary Harris as well. Like they have a very, very good team. They're a team that I could see competing in the Western Conference Finals. Not just getting there, competing. I think a lot of people sleep on them. That's my opinion on that. But you guys are standing by. No, Ben's switching. So you're both picking Jamal Murray?
Yeah.
Killing me. I got you, man. Don't worry about it. Come back to Boston. That's going to do it for this episode of the Crown Hoops Podcast, episode number 42. My name is Jordan Daly. With me this week, we had Stacey Collier and Ben Okazawa. And we will see you guys next week. Peace.